Nancy moved to her mother's house and intended to continue to sell fried noodles. Despite her mother's opposition, Nancy felt that she should get her life back on track. As soon as she started her stall, Howard, the debtor, came to her, which made her so worried. Today was the day to pay the debt, but she didn't have $1 million. She begged and begged Howard for a few more days of grace. Howard grabbed her by the neck and gave her only 2 more days. Chris was watching the scene silently. The police unlocked Ray's computer and opened up his WhatsApp. He did receive multiple voice messages from Holly the night he died. Holly kept asking Ray where he was and told him she was pregnant. Holly had been uncomfortable because of her pregnancy. This morning she suddenly had stomach pains. Blood was pouring down her thighs. She had an unexpected miscarriage and lost her baby. Holly was frozen, remembering the pounding heartbeat of her baby during her previous checkups. She'd lost her lover, she'd lost her baby, she'd ended up with nothing. The next day was Ray's funeral. Captain Chase didn't miss the opportunity. She was not disappointed. Holly wore a bright red dress and made a big scene at Ray's funeral, cursing Nancy with a vicious tongue. She slapped Nancy across the face and screamed that Nancy was behind all this, for Ray's death. She took out the pictures Nancy had taken. She said that Nancy had set up a trap to push Ray onto her and caused her to miscarry. Holly cursed Nancy's mom and cursed Nancy to death. Nancy's mom couldn't take it anymore. She and Holly got into a fight. The funeral was a total mess. Nancy was exhausted and didn't say a word. After the funeral, Nancy got a call from Holly asking to meet her. Nancy went to the appointment. Holly accused Nancy of setting her up with Ray. Nancy argued that no one forced you to do it, you made your own choice. Holly asked Nancy why she did it, but Nancy didn't answer. She just advised Holly to take care of herself. At night, Captain Chase came to Nancy's chow mein stand and asked her why she lied. It turns out that Captain Chase had the same question, why Nancy didn't tell her about her husband's affair. Nancy just said she didn't tell her doesn't mean she lied. Captain Chase questioned that a wife wasn't supposed to react to her husband's affair like that. Nancy argued that she was just the way she was, a meek and a coward. Captain Chase saw that nothing could be done and left. Nancy was calmer than she thought, and she was sure. Nancy's relationship with Ray was definitely not simple. They had to dig deeper. Captain Chase checked Nancy's medical records and found that she had been domestically abused. She went to the hospital and interviewed the doctor that night. The doctor said she was impressed with this patient because she was accompanied by her husband, who seemed very thoughtful. The patient also said it was an accidental bruise, so she didn't call the police. Captain Chase confirmed his suspicions. Nancy must have wanted to get rid of Ray. Ray was abusing her and wouldn't divorce her, so Nancy tried to get him to leave. That's the real reason why Nancy pretended not knowing about Ray's affair. Tonight the 2-day deadline was up. Howard caught Nancy near her home. But Nancy still didn't have the money, so she begged Howard to wait a few more days. Howard grabbed Nancy's neck, looking quite angry when Chris suddenly appeared. Howard then left. Nancy told Chris about the debt and wondered why Chris was here. He meant he was just passing by. They chatted for a few minutes. Chris offered his help. He said Nancy could come to him if she was in trouble. Nancy moved out of her mother's house the next day. She didn't want the debtors to threaten her mom and grandma. She found a motel to stay in. Captain Chase went to Nancy's workplace asking her about her earlier injury. She asked why Nancy had to hide so much information from the police. Nancy had no choice but to tell the truth about her history with Ray, who she had found to be kind and gentle at first. After they got married, Ray showed his true color. He was a greedy, aggressive man with gambling problems. He owed a lot of money from a loan shark. At first Nancy paid a couple of thousands of dollars for him. But it wasn't enough at all. Ray asked for the money they saved for their own house. Nancy refused to give it to him. Then Ray beat the shit out of her. Nancy cried she wanted a divorce, but Ray was even more brutal and violent. Nancy said a lot of things, but she didn't answer the police's questions directly. Captain Chase then let her go. Before she left, Nancy told the police that they should look into Howard. Howard's gangster boys said Howard was out of town. Captain Chase didn't but it at all. She saw the parking lot and had her detective check Howard's car. She did find Howard's car in the parking lot with the river sand on it. Captain Chase immediately led his men to block the station and the highway to arrest Howard. Howard was sitting in a cab now. When he passed the toll booth, the staff spotted him. The police immediately swarmed over him. Howard jumped out of the car trying to flee, but the police still caught him. Nancy returned to the motel and found the walls plastered with posters asking for her debt. The innkeeper was angry and kicked Nancy out. Nancy didn't know where to go with her luggage. She recalled the night before Ray died. She secretly used Ray's cell phone to send Howard a text asking him to come to the river at 9:15 the next night. Now that Ray was dead, the police would investigate Howard for a while. She could finally catch her breath. Later, Nancy arrived at a fancy neighborhood. She dragged her bags up the stairs, and Chris opened the door for her.